Freedom doesn't begin with a big moment. It begins with the small moments when someone tries to dim your light and you decide not to fold. Because long before adulthood ever arrives, the world teaches you that difference, boldness, and originality will cost you something. And without even realizing it, you start making yourself small just to stay safe, just to stay accepted, just to avoid the sting of being misunderstood. But the danger is this: the moment you start lowering your presence to make others comfortable, you begin losing pieces of yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Leavona. Welcome to the Leavona Show. I have been creating and building successful businesses for over 25 years, and I'm here to help you win. If you would like to learn from me, hit that subscribe button now so you can find me later when you need me. I learned this lesson very early. I was just a little schoolgirl selling fried chickpea to buy my own books, proud that my two hands could create something good, something useful, something honest. And with one stroke of the wild cane, that teacher told me to stop, to sit, to behave, not because I was doing anything wrong, but because my initiative unsettled her. And in that tiny moment, a quiet message tried to place itself inside of me. Lower your presence. Tuck your gift away. Don't rise too high. Suppression doesn't always come in storms. Sometimes it comes in whispers, disguised as discipline. But if it gets inside you, it begins shaping what you believe you're allowed to become. Years later, that message deepened in a way I never forgot. My father promised me that if I kept my grades up, he would send me to America to study medicine. And I believed him with my whole heart. I studied under the sheet with a torchlight night after night, pushing myself, preparing, dreaming. And when the time came, he sent someone else instead. No explanation, no apology, just absence. The betrayal wasn't only the broken promise, it was the wound beneath it. You are not worth the investment. And if you don't untangle that message, life will echo it again and again in new disguises. But hear me well. Those early messages were never the final truth about me. They were only the first tests. Not long after being abandoned in my own country with nothing to stand on, I did the one thing I had always known how to do. I used my hands. I set up a little food stand. And what started as survival became a blessing to the community, feeding people on their way to work, helping them start their mornings, giving me a way to rise out of a situation that could have broken me. That moment taught me something that no textbook and no classroom ever could. When life pushes you down, the flame inside of you will always give you a way to rise, if you refuse to let it go out. This is why so many entrepreneurs feel misunderstood. We carry a fire that other people don't always recognize. We're wired to build, to create, to solve, to rise, and to keep going, even when the odds are stacked against us. And sometimes the very people who love us cannot see the weight of what we carry, so they misjudge us. They doubt us. They tell us to be realistic, and then they wonder why our spirit starts to dim. But let me say this clearly. If you want freedom, you cannot hand the world the authority to define your worth. Freedom begins when you stop lowering your voice to fit into small rooms. Freedom begins when you stop waiting for someone else to validate your dreams. Freedom begins when you honor your own potential, even if no one else understands it yet. And if you want something practical to hold on to today, let it be this. Pay close attention to the places where your spirit feels smaller than usual, because those places are not your future. They are only reminders that you are meant for higher ground. And the truth I want to leave you with is simple. Your light was never the problem. The problem was the places that needed it dim. Stand in the fullness of who you are and let your flame rise. My friends, how are you tonight? How was your day? I hope it was a good one. Once again, we got assailed by the weather in the 30s. Not a good place for people who have to work outside. But for all of you who work outside like me and we go in and out of the cars, I commend you and I ask you to stay bundled and stay warm so that we do not get sick. I was sick and my husband put me down for 4 days, and poor thing, he is sneezing and coughing and everything. Just the same thing I had. He picked it up so quickly. So let us try to bundle ourselves and stay warm. And this way, the kids don't get anything and we don't get anything. One of my customers saw me this morning and he stopped me and he said, "Oh, Leah, how are you doing?" I said, "You might not want to come too close. I have something since this weather switched. I got this cold and sneezing and stuff." And he says, "Yeah, you know, so you took it and now Dan is going to get it. And the kids go to school and they get something and they bring it to us. And, you know, the cycle just goes on." He took it in a nice way. God bless his soul. All right. So tonight, I want to tell you that we have a nice program for you. At least I hope. The message that I just did, as I reviewed it today, I had a little moment. You know. Sometimes when we have to go back and reminisce, reverse engineer the things that have happened to us, we can get sad. But we have to realize that every journey that we have embarked on so far, I don't know where you are in terms of your age and your life and what's not. But every single journey that we have embarked upon, it is only to make us strong. It is only to make us develop the skills that God sent us down here with to bless our communities and bless people and be a blessing to mankind. Okay? So, I want to ask you, ladies and gentlemen, to make sure you stick around for the entire video or the entire program, because between you and me, I think you're going to like this one very well. Okay, so I just want to tell you that we changed the program, and because I changed the program, I will have to look away from you sometimes as I keep the program tight and not make you feel, what is she doing? This is weird. We're trying our best. Like we spoke last night about the 5-star treatment. We started now. This is our week. We are starting the new week off. And once again, I hope you had a nice weekend. So in keeping with what we said, if you feel at the start of the program, if you feel that whatever we give you there brought back some memories, can encourage you, you look back and you see, well, yes, some things like this happened to me, but I went down, but I didn't stay down. I came up, and I'm here, and I'm still fighting for life. I'm still, I'm still fighting to do what I need to do, because it's better to be alive than to be dead, right? And so I ask you, if it resonated with you and you liked it, just give us a thumbs up and a subscription if you can. These are the only things we will ask you for, just so that you can be the person who blesses another person. It's like I said the other day, it's not just about me. I want it to be where you want to give up your subscription, so that you can help somebody else who can one day stumble upon the videos that you're watching me do right now. Okay? So we always talk about our business in our life. And as you can see, I'm not going to, tell you what the theme this week is going to be. If you think you already have it, you can put it in the comments and tell me what you think it's going to be. And as time goes by, we'll see how many of you figured it out. But, excuse me, every time we always talk about, I'm not fully there, but so bear with me. Every time we always ask ourselves, now that we may have come out of the stage of bondage in this particular situation that you heard tonight, you can summate that this was something to do with poverty, right? Poverty, it's a part of my story. And you can see that there was some kind of something going on there, some poverty, right? Sometimes as business owners, we want to make sure that our kids don't have to suffer what we suffered. And so even when we were in high school, and those of us who are studious and wise, we're not fooling around in the classrooms. We're listening to everything, and we're studying, and we're really trying to make something of ourselves, that our kids one day, we hope that we will meet our Prince Charming, and we're going to go off into the sunset. If you were anything like me, I've read so many books. I loved to read. I don't get to read as much now, but oh, how I loved reading. And that's one of the things I'm going to want to put into my freedom line, that I'll be able to slow down at some point, pass the torch over again for this business, and just get to relax. I love to relax and in hammocks and read and have the breeze blow on me and this kind of thing. And I'm trusting God that I'll get to do that. So, we always have to ask ourselves why we're doing this. And if you had a story or a situation like I just shared with you, you know that it is so important for us to have freedom to develop, freedom to think, freedom to process, freedom to stand even when we're alone, to be able to bring the things to life that we have in our hands, right? So tonight, freedom and the things in our hands are coming together as like one little package, right? If you have the freedom and you want to get out of the poverty situation that you're in, you're stuck. Sometimes marriages might break. Sometimes life gives you a situation where you couldn't pay the mortgage. Now you're out and you're having to rent. And here it is. You used to have this beautiful house. Life takes us down these roads. And so you want to get out. You want to get out because you watch the kids and they're struggling and you're struggling. And, God forbid, husband is gone or wife is gone and you're stuck. But you know that you want freedom. And in order for you to get freedom, you got to continue to push, and you have to not let the flame, die out. You have to push your hardest and stand in the fullness of who you are, and not let your flame die out, but actually let it rise. And so I just want to say that freedom is something that we talk about all the time, and we have to remember how important it is, and we have to always try our best to acquire that. And we have to teach our kids how important it is to be free and not to be under the hands of anybody, because these are modern times. But here we are finding out, lo and behold, that people are still in slavery. People are still slaves even in this time. And we have to teach them to always be wise and to be guarded and to watch and not to get into situations. You can't get into somebody's car you don't know. Even if you're stranded, you don't want to be a prisoner in somebody's car and they're drunk and they're driving and you just got in because your friends got in. Sometimes you have to say no and not, this is not what I was taught. You guys don't want to stay with me? Fine. I'm going to walk to the next bodega or something, call a cab. All right. So we have to teach them about freedom, using the gift in our hands, right? The why factor here is about these two things: getting freedom, having freedom, using freedom, and using the skill in our hands just to get out. And where are we going to put these things? Where are we going to use the freedom? Where are we going to, what are we going to do with the skills if there are no people? We need people. We need people to come and buy the chickpea or whatever it is you might do. You need people to come into your barbershop and trust you to give them a nice cut. You need people to trust you that you are advertised as a nail salon and you actually know what you're doing. You need people to come in and know that your equipment are sterilized and they're not going to get fungus growing on their nails and their feet. So, people will drive your business. And if you're doing the right things and you're keeping the place clean and you give them 5-star treatment, they will come back. All right. So there we go. We moved as best we can to talk about the why factor and why we went into business. We went into business to be able to rise out of poverty in this illustration tonight, to rise out of poverty and to stand strong and, believe in ourselves, stand in the fullness of who we are, and not to let that flame inside of us dry out, die out, fan out, whatever. We just keep that flame alive through our mindset, believing that this is not the end of me. This is not the end of me. I can rise out of this. Okay? All right. So how are you doing, guys? Are you good? You're with me? You understood that message tonight? Did it do anything? Stir up something inside of you? All right. So what we want to do, we want to move on now. I don't want to keep you guys here all night. I have to go make sure I take care of my hubby, make some soup for him or something. He couldn't even stay in the station tonight. He had to go off to the side in case he coughs, because he's coughing like crazy. So what is life? We talk about certain things and we carry this program along because what is the purpose of us striving? Why do we even try? Right? There are some things that anchor us. Our kids anchor us. We have a purpose in life. You have that baby girl. You have that baby boy. You're taking them to school. I was listening to a story today where they were saying that they have these tents in certain places, and people leave cities that have these tents with the homeless and people who are on fentanyl and drugs, and they just leave. They pack up their kids and they leave because they have children And they know that they go to work early in the morning. They're pulling out at 5. They can't have their kids walking by a park that is completely taken over by people who are on drugs. Such a sad state in our country today. I remember telling my husband in a conversation one day, way before people started talking about this, I said, husband, we have the Trojan horse in here. The enemy has come in and infiltrated us with the Trojan horse. I guess being somebody who read so much when I was a little girl, I was so consumed. Oh, I would sell those chickpea and buy me books after books after books. I kind of saw it, you know. And when I look and I hear the stories, it makes me so sad. I have to turn off the TV. I can't take it. And so a lot of people, because they value the life of their precious children, just pack up and leave from any state that has this kind of situation. We know that the government has to try to fix it. We can't fix it. And we can't stay if it's bad. It's not only bad for them, but it's also bad for us. Because we're consumed and we're worried about our little babies, but sometimes we try to get home and we could never go back home to them because somebody does something to you that you never see them again from just these people being out here. So, you know, you have to cherish life. And you have to make the best decision that is right for you. You have to cherish life. And because you cherish life, you make the best decisions for your children, for your family. Some things are so broken that we pray for years and years and years and we don't see changes. But for you, I don't know what you do, but for me, I just keep on praying. I just stay praying. Do I pray for the situation every day? No, sometimes I'm consumed. But a lot of times when it comes back to my mind, like what I saw today on television, what I heard about how many Americans are dying every year, definitely a Trojan horse situation. We just have to pray. And we trust God that our kids get spared and they do not end up in the street. I told you last night my grandmother used to say something that I had to ask her one night, Grandma, what do you mean by that? But for God, but for Jesus, there goes I. She would always say when she saw people fallen, people, you know, who were the less fortunate, abnormalities at birth and stuff. Yeah. All right, guys. So life is so precious that you have every right to fight for your family, fight for your kids, seek safety. Dad seeks safety. Dad builds and works hard and he builds that house so that you guys are in there. He might be on a night shift and he has alarms on and he's watching you guys, even as he works. That's the love. He cherishes you guys. Heard another story today that just made me very sad. One of the big influencers said he was not at home. He was in his office working. And his wife called him because some guy showed up. He had put out a warning that he was going to kill his wife, and the children. And here it is. This guy shows up. He found him where he was living. He didn't like what he was saying on television. And he said it was a horrible situation for him because he was at work and they were home. The wife called him. They have the kids, and she tried her best to lock herself in. And then the cops arrived. But how horrible that is. We build our homes and we work hard. And some of us, unfortunately, are not able to put alarms. We don't have the money to put cameras. Life is precious. Please be careful. Please be careful and try to put lights, even if there are lights that just come on as you're walking up your front door. There was this one night, let me give you a quick story. One night, my husband and I, as you guys know, we do logistics and we like to leave out early. Sometimes we leave out at 1 a.m., most times 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and we have my side is five hours. Sometimes my husband, he's a baller. He takes like 8-hour routes and bring them down to 4. It's just crazy. His UPS background and what's not. But one night we worked together and for fellowship so we could talk. And, he's very worried about me being out there by myself. And we got to one of the customers and the street was dark. And we saw a guy dressed in black pants, black shirt, long sleeve, and he had a black mask over his face. And I'm like, this doesn't look good. And then my husband, I thought he didn't see it, but he sees everything. His head is like on a swivel. And we drive up the block to drop off the ladies' things. And then we see one, like he got disturbed. He didn't expect anybody coming. And he darted off of our property like a bullet, dressed in black. I didn't want to wake her up at that hour of the morning. We went off the street. We dropped the stuff and we went off. And we started looking to see if we could find them. They just disappeared. I find like sometimes when people are evil, they do things that you who never think of such things, you would never, I just couldn't find them. We couldn't find them. And I said, they must have ducked behind some garbage can or something. Where could, they weren't in the street, so they must have darted onto somebody else's property. But these are the things we have to look for now, guys. We can't be naive. We have to make sure that we protect what we cherish, our family. If you have money, put alarms on the property. Because the cops are not able to come anymore as they used to. Protect your family. It's for them that we get up and labor every day. Mommy, you didn't fetch baby in your belly for 9 months for some stupid thing to take them out. Even if they're 15, 17, whatever, they're still your babies. They're still our babies. Pray over them every night. Pray for yourself and them if your husband works nights. Take no chances. Check your doors. So, it's now Christmas. People are going up the doors again, even though they see people have cameras. They're still picking up the stuff and running, thinking that it's they're not going to get into any problems. Lock the doors. Pull the curtains. Because they peep from outside and they say, you wealthy, you look wealthy. Oh, that house looks rich. Let me try this one. And sometimes they're staking you out for days, watching, knowing when you're not going to be there, seeing that you and your husband left Friday night to go to a party, that the kids are alone. Kids are not always careful. It doesn't matter where you live, unless your community is gated. Do not take chances. I told that lady the next day, or I think we called her the same day, but we waited until 8 o'clock. And we told them what we saw. And I tell you, she profusely thanked us, and all of them, because they were in a cul-de-sac, all of them who didn't put the cameras on, put lights, big flashing lights that startle you when you understand? If you're coming to do bad things, every single house in that cul-de-sac did something. There was this one house. They would always have the door open because it was like a little hallway. You had one apartment going upstairs, one down, and maybe one going to the basement. And they would just leave the door open to get the fresh air. I have never seen that door open since. And I thank God. I said, they listened to me. They did not say, she made a mistake. Nope. Lights went up the next night. And the cameras on every door. So guys, life is precious. Cherish and cherish and cherish, and let's watch our kids and watch the home and make sure we don't have to get fancy. These years ago they used to have these companies, but now you can go to like any one of these big places that sell bulk, and you can get cameras that you can mount yourself, or if you're an electric person, or you just call somebody in and secure your family. Okay, guys? So let's meditate on that. And if you're behind and you have the money, take care of it. The main thing is that we also have to teach the kids. We have to teach them that they have to lock the doors. Every door, every window. If you're not home, lock them. Before you put your head down, make sure no window is open in the basement. Please be careful. All right? Please be careful. All right. So selling with integrity and honor, that is something that we know will keep us in business, keep our minds straight, keep on having referrals coming because we are honest and we're not robbing anybody. Sometimes it's the things that we do in the dark that gets rewarded in the light. Sometimes you go to a place and you pay for something, like at the front desk or something. And once in a while, oh my gosh, I don't even know when this particular thing stopped. I remember you would go to supermarkets, you would go to the mall and you would shop. And if you overpaid, they would say, ma'am, hi, hold on, you paid me too much. Here, and give you back a $10 or $5. But now people see that you made a boo-boo, they just keep it. They keep it. And so, it's the things that we do in the dark and in the quiet places that God sees our hearts and he rewards us. He rewards us in the open. So we will never sell and steal. If the thing is $20 and they made a mistake and the other $20 is stuck to it, you're not going to take it and say, oh gosh, people are so dishonest. So dishonest. In my boutique, I had this boutique running and it's doing good. And my pastor came in one day to buy some things and he liked what I was doing. And he said, he later on asked me if I could take over a dying program in the church and at least help them to build it up. I thought about it, calculated. I said, okay, I'll put somebody here. I think I can bring the flames back up in about 3 months or so. And my husband and I were, he was there as a tutor. This is when we came back from med school. And I said yes. So a lady, Christian lady, came and she asked me, she says, would you give me a chance? Her children were in the program. And she didn't know that we had cameras. My husband he's so good with these things. He had cameras that looked like flat screen TVs. They were about yay big, and the screen was never turned on, but it was still recording. And every night after we were done and we packed up with the program with the kids, we would go and we would check off and see what was left out and how she, because we showed her how to do the day's tallies and what's not. And one night, I tell you, my friends, we saw that girl. She was opening and closing the cash register, opening and closing. And she was counting the money. It's like whatever she had already stolen, she wasn't satisfied that she wanted to leave that with me. She just kept opening and counting the money that was left in the cash register. So listen, you know what I did with her. I could have gotten her locked up. I could have done things to her. But like I told you, sometimes I just shut it down. People disappoint me and I just try to forgive them, and I have nothing to do with them after that. It is just what it is. And along the way, when you're an entrepreneur, you make mistakes and you learn from them. I learned from that. So we have to be integrous. She could have been in there. She could have made so much money. It was a clothing store. She was out there. I'm a Christian woman. She went out unbeknownst to me. She got all these bad clothes, like they call them pom-pom shorts, up in your butt, and she was making her own slide off of the side. So you see people come and they say, oh, we're punishing, and we don't have enough money, and my husband doesn't have a job, and he had the job and he lost the job, or the job is reduced, and you think, well, she's in church with me. But not everybody who's in church. Judas was with Jesus, but he wasn't a Christian. He wasn't saved. Or maybe he was saved, but he got tempted to pull away. Who knows? But, we tend to let our guards down because, oh, she or he is one of us. But sometimes they're not. All right. So we have to watch, for integrous people. We have to sell with honor, and we have to do our best not to hire people who will steal from us. After a while, I started going through agencies. But I have a story for you for the agency business another day. All right? Everything, you got to so safeguard yourself. So safeguard. Because you could go through an agency and they still send you people who are not trustworthy. Okay? So, mental health and the entrepreneur. As I told you on the other times that we have talked about this, bad things. I don't know how people sleep at nights. You understand? I don't know how they could lay down and sleep after they do certain things. But we have to safeguard ourselves that we do not allow ourselves to steal, to be dishonest, to take something that does not belong to us. You're in a house, you're cleaning somebody's house, and you see money left. Sometimes it's a trap. And let me tell you something, watch for those cameras now. Those people be having cameras all over their places. Nobody can trust nobody anymore. You have a babysitter come in and watch your kids, you got camera. If you don't have a camera, you are not being smart and wise. You need to know, because they come and they sell their representatives to get the job. And once they think they have you, you never know. I saw a video, I think it was Burger King. Shocked the crap out of me. The girl was making a sandwich and the patty fell to the floor. And she took the patty and she wiped the floor with it, took it and threw it back up on the counter, and continued, proceeded to make the sandwich for whoever was standing there trusting, waiting for the sandwich. The only comfort I have from some of these wicked things that people do is that I think God makes allowance for the fact that you're going to bite into that sandwich and not know that your bread wiped the floor. I think he makes allowance that we don't get sick. Or sometimes we do get sick like a dog and not know why. People are horrible. So please don't trust them. Because when you have problems and it's your baby and you struggled, you put your last savings on the line to get it going, and sometimes you pay them, because when you're starting off, when you start paying your staff, it takes 5 years before you're able to say, well, okay, I'm running smooth now. Everything is covered. It has grown like the plant and it's doing well. But it takes a while. And like I said, people don't see when we're grinding at nights. They only see the glory. They see when you blow up, when you just blow up and everybody's talking about you and your place is full. But they don't know of your struggles in the back and they don't care. Nobody can love you like your family loves you. So don't be scammed, don't be fooled. They'll come and say, oh, miss this and miss that. Yeah. Don't have that paycheck when it's ready to be there. You'll see how fast that love or that like fades. All right? So you don't want to do selling out nonsense because you don't want to lose your mind. You don't want to have health issues. You don't want to have to take to the bottle and start drinking uncontrollably. You have to guard that marriage because a lot of times women cannot afford. We kind of get sick because our husband stepped out. And when you find out, you're looking at all the children and you're asking yourself, how can we have a divorce? Or sometimes your husband steps out and he comes back in all manly and obsessed and possessed, and he puts the gun tool down and says, I'm leaving you. You didn't do anything. You were just home being a good wife, but he doesn't want you anymore because he stepped out. And he feels that what he got there is better than what he has now. Very sad world. But a lot of times we decide that we're going to stay for the kids. A lot of marriages heal when they're broken and we give them to Christ. But outside of that, the divorce rate is rampant. We say that we love Jesus, but when things break, we don't allow him to fix. And so here comes divorce. We just trust God, yes? Any heavy situation like that could cause you to have mental issues, and we don't want that. Don't stay in the office too late, Dad. Don't stay in the office too late, Mom. Go back and watch the video that says that the business was never meant to be the main thing in your life. You just did it so that you could help your family. All right? So let's keep mental health at bay. Don't let us cheat. Don't let us, sell out. Don't let us sacrifice our family for money. All right? Like I said, questions and comments, that is open to you. You want to ask me something? You want to make comments? It's there. The comment section is there. Some of you might want to ask me a question, but you don't want people to see what you're asking me. There are ways for you to reach me. I'm sure you guys are tech savvy. You know how to do that. All right. Every night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be here for you. All right. Every single night. Last night, we struggled because same thing, the sickness now in the house. But we showed up and we're doing better. I feel like I said, I like to stand behind my products and I like to be proud of them. And right now I'm feeling proud with the time that we're coming in. And today it was not sharp 8 o'clock. We start a countdown like at 8 so that we can be right there. But my poor hubby was sickies tonight. He got what I got. Poor man, sacrificed 4 days, put me down 4 days. And, God has put them over us. And they have to always stand and fight for us. And so, he put me out for 4 days, but I can't help him, So he's going to struggle through that. And hopefully by God's grace, he comes back in a day, 2 days. We'll see. It took me 4 days. And still today I was in my car sneezing like crazy. But anyway, Eastern time, 8. And so we will see each other again in the next video. Don't forget, if you liked what was shared tonight, just give us a thumbs up and a subscription if you can. And remember that we'll be here for you again tomorrow night at 8 a.m. All right, guys? Oh, Lord have mercy. Don't come for 8 a.m., 8 p.m. But I know you guys, you're sharp. You heard when I made the boo-boo, right? And we have to love each other when we make boo-boos, right? So be there or be square, right? I want to leave you with this little message tonight. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I don't know what you're going through, but just know that you can do all things. All this stuff about the business and if the business is slow and you're struggling in the economy and you're having problems, just know that you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. You guys just have to pray and you ask him to help you with whatever ails you, whatever is making you sick, whatever is bothering you. You just trust him and the business will grow. Give it time. If it has started to slump a little, I don't know how many times I'm going to say this. I have videos out there that videos that tell you how. I've been watching my grandma and noticing I'm making mistakes. I'm so big on grammar. When I say videos that tells, oh, you don't know. I get such a pet peeve. But anyway, I drive my husband crazy with grammar. I was ruled by the British, you see. And I wonder what that ever did for me, speaking with proper grammar and all that nonsense that they raised us with. Anyway, whatever your situation is, I felt to do that particular scripture tonight. And for whomever it was meant for, please know that whatever your situation is, whatever your burden is, the business is not doing the greatest. The business is struggling on its start. Wherever you are in the process, keep on keeping on. Stand in the fullness of who you are and let your flame rise. And please know that you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. All right? Have a good night. Hug your babies. Hug your husband. And I will see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Be there or be square. God bless you. Love you, family. Good night.